Good morning. Welcome to Morning Chit with Eric Fell. I'm the host of Morning Chit with Eric Fell. Eric Fell, still on YouTube, still here. They haven't taken this away from me yet. Not this. Not yet. At some point, I'll have to do a live stream just in person in a park with some lawn chairs. That's where it's headed. I think it's legal to drink in some parks, so we can all bring some drinks. Have a nice morning chit. Lawn chairs in a park. Drinking. Oh, I'm fine. Hi, so we got folks here. Hello. It's great to see all of you here. I hope your week was well. Your weeks were well. Your collective week was well. All of you had a week of 7 days. And I hope that for each and every single one of you, it went as well as can be. That's what I got to say. Hello. I did say that. Yeah, I'm on the information superhighway. I can hear the regular superhighway behind me. There is a large truck driving by. I have the window open. It's one of these, the heat's leaking from the neighbors. So like the room is like aggressively hot and it shouldn't be. So I gotta have the window open. So I got my giant glass of water. I've already had my coffee and I'm having coffee later today. I have 2 planned coffee meetings. And possibly a Critical Hit Show poster pickup because, I mentioned that, I got to print my own posters this time, so I could afford 50 posters. Yeah, the week's been. How has your week been? Doc Mar's Tale to Amaze. Good enough week. That's, you know what? That is good enough is even more than we can hope for in this year of our look, we're all here in 2026. We know what it's like. We know what's happening. Good enough. That's good enough. That's great. Happy to hear. I want to know what exciting things you all got up to this week. I did a little traveling, tiny bit. There you go. Doc Mar's Tales to Amaze. You did a lot of writing. This is good because you've had your stuff published. And I think you put a link up to it in the Discord, didn't you? Of course you did. And folks, you want to find out more about that, swing on over to the Discord. The invite is in the chat. And if you're watching this later on, I don't think I have the chat transcript turned on. So you're just SOL there. Sorry. It's been cold in Texas. It's unseasonably warm here in Canada. At least in Vancouver it is. It's supposed to get up to about 13 degrees Celsius here. Not sure what that is in Fahrenheit. 60 something? 60? Squibble says you're keeping things light by watching some improv on that Dropout streaming service. I've heard some really good things about Dropout. I've not yet taken a peek. I know they're coming to JFL Vancouver. You know who else is coming to JFL Vancouver? This guy. You can get tickets in the chat. Look, if any of you follow me on social media, you are about to be, in my opinion, bombarded with me plugging the show. But I know that everybody follows hundreds of people. So if me posting twice a day is I'm doing too much. If I'm posting twice a day and you follow, say, 200 people who each post once a day, let's just say that. Right? So you'd see mine twice in 2, you'd have to scroll. I shouldn't worry about it. I shouldn't worry about it. Squibble says you posted a picture of your latest winter wonderland in the Discord. Oh, that's great. I can't wait to check that out. Yeah. So I'm not sure what's going on with the weather. There was and I'll get into during the What's Up Me. I'll talk a little bit more about the weather where I was this week. It was interesting. Not really. It's weather. So, yeah, I hope everybody's week has been good. I see you've got. Yeah, I'm trying not to worry about plugging stuff too much. I think it might be a Canadian thing. I've sat down and talked with a lot of folks, and here's the thing: if you like when Canadians are milling around at a party, nobody really asks what they do, what the other person does for a living. Like we're not used to plugging stuff, so I'm gonna be plugging stuff. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to post too much on socials. I don't think posting twice a day is going to look like too much. So I'm going to have to start like banging stuff out, and I'm going to upload a bunch of stuff to the Discord if folks feel like banging stuff out. Yeah. So I'll just post a bunch of things and say, hey, use this link. Say whatever you want. Just post the ticket link and maybe a picture. So, do I think it might be a Canadian thing that I'm apologizing preemptively for a thing that I didn't do and I'm not doing as much as anybody else is? Maybe. Yes. Yeah, I think that's part of our identity. Yeah, we need to stop saying sorry so much. Thank you. Good night, everybody. Just got to find smoother ways to work in an everyday conversation. Like I'll feel like Bob Vance Refrigeration. Hi, Eric Fell, Critical Hit Show. Hi, Eric Fell, Critical Hit Show. Hi, Eric Fell, Gentleman Heckler. Hi, Eric Fell, extra credit. Yeah. The other thing too is when doing everyday conversation, it's not advisable for a comedian to let people know they're a comedian in non-comedian situations. It never ends well. It's invariably like, oh, you're a comedian, eh? And then something's going to happen. You're like, oh no, I got to get out of here. Yeah, look at that picture I just took. It reminds me of Just for Laughs, which, as it happens, has a show coming and I'm in it. What do you know about that? Hey, JFL, Just for Laughs. There's an F in it. You know where else there's an F? I mean, that sounds like I'm a euphemism for something. Hey, there's an F in that. But I don't want to do that. Not the euphemism. Yeah. So I'm going to, hey, wow, that your name has letters in it from the alphabet. Speaking of a letter, man, Letterman's at JFL. Hey, you know who else is? I am. How about that? That could work. I like that one. Like, oh, hey, I really like that you've got a wizard. Your wizard is a caster. Hey, speaking of a caster, James A. Caster's at JFL. So am I. Or I could just say, listen, folks, I know a thing or two about horses. And I know a thing or two about other things. So you never know.
Hoof prints or not, this horse witnessed the murder.
Did I ever tell you about the time I killed an entire comedy festival? Somehow JFL returned and they went, hey, we want you to be a special presentation. Is this a trap? I just thought about this. Is this a trap? Am I being trapped? Am I going to go there? And you will find, Mr. Fell, that it is quite impossible to escape. The doors are sealed shut. Yeah, that might happen. Yeah, you can mention any celebrity that was ever interviewed on Letterman. So anybody who got famous 2015 or before. So I don't think you could do the ones that the kids are into nowadays, that Timothée Chalamet, the Sydney Sweeneys. You can't bring them up. I rarely bring them up anyway. So, captured by the JFL Council of Judges. There's some good stuff happening there, and I'm hoping to sneak in. I was like, oh, I should do like a laser chat on the Monday night before the show. I'm like, also like, I should go to a show. I should see what's happening on the 16th. Can we sort by date on the JFL Vancouver website? Let's find out together. Watch us online, listen to our albums, The Creators Series. Here we go. Visit our sponsors. Folks, we're sponsored by... Oh, Brit is in this. No. Yeah, it doesn't... Yeah, we got sponsors. Here we go. So, show date. We're going to go February 16th, the night before the show. There is one person, Rashid Badouri, The Tale of the Syrian Dragon. Not sure who they are. Let's see if they're probably very funny, obviously. But let's go to Best of the West and see if I can't grab... No, you can't. You can't sort by date for Best of the West, which is a shame. I do know that my friend Sarah Bino is doing a show on Friday the 20th. Oh, wow, that's a pretty sweet time slot. Friday, February 27 p.m. at the Fox. It's called Teen Angst. Basically, it's people comedians bring their real teenage poetry and they read the real teenage poetry. The terrible stuff. Or they'll read diary entries and stuff. So, if you're like, I need something to do on Friday, February 20th, you could do like this. That's a good one to do. That's a good show to do. I'm glad I got some friends and some nice people. There's like looking at the people who are hosting shows and stuff in the Best of the West. Most of the people are nice. I say most of the people because I don't know everybody, and I don't want to assume people are. Of course, it's Vancouver. People are generally fine in Vancouver. Yeah. So just check out the So Friday the 20th. Yeah, I was thinking, yeah, should I do I'll see if there's nothing going on the Monday. I will. I'll do that. I'll do a laser chat. Maybe bring in some. Critical hit people. Might be fun to do that. Bring some critical hit folks. Oh, I forgot to mention something. I think you can see it in the background. Katie and I got something at IKEA when we were at IKEA, and this isn't part of the What's Up because this didn't happen this week. So this happened, last week. So it's right over here. So I got this. We got this speaker. This Bluetooth speaker from IKEA, and it was getting amazing reviews. It's called a Vapabee 20 Gen 3, and it is really nice. It is. I really like it. It is a great speaker. It sounds better than for music than the soundbar from the TV. The TV. Do an IRL stream just outside the theater. That might be a good idea. You know what? That might be a good idea is to just do little vertical live streams talking about Critical Hit, just running around. You might be onto something. Because Doc Mars Tales to Amaze, I think you chatted with me and offered up the whole you should try doing a vertical chat, which I don't know if I can do the chit as a vertical chat, because if I go vertical, I lose, right? This whole thing. I lose this idea. But I should do some like unscheduled ones or something just in vertical. Might be good to do. But yeah, so the speaker is really nice. It was like $100, and it's $30 extra for the battery, which gives you about 25 hours of time of play time. So I just leave it plugged in to charge, and then I'll just place it around, depending on what I'm doing around the house, as I put it somewhere around the house. Can I give you away 20 flyers in 10 minutes challenge? So Squibbles, is funny you should mention that. I'm picking up a bunch of handbills from Joanna Gaskell today. She went down to Jukebox Printing and printed up some handbills, and then she went, oh my God, 100, print off 100, sure. 100's a lot. So we got to figure out stuff to do with that. And I've got posters that I printed up being delivered today. So you may see me, if you're in East Vancouver or somewhere, like just walking up to poles and taping on stuff. And I'm going to do my best to tape over things whose dates have already passed. I don't like taping over other people's things. But I've also found out that the poster people who, they go up and down the streets in Vancouver putting posters up. They do it several times a day. So you could see a poster up there and then like 6 hours later, it's already covered. So I'll try to find some ways to, because these posters, you do a small run of posters, it's like, they're like $1 each. You do a big run of posters, they're a lot less. So and I didn't want to print off 250 posters because I'm not going to be putting those up. But I'll swing by the Rio and say, hey, the Rio, you're gonna put this up in your thing, right? Like it's still a co-production, and they'll say yes, and so it'll be up there, and there'll be a direct ticket link. Should be fun. But this is neat. Some of the reasons why I got this is you can actually, you can technically hang this. It's not a very heavy speaker, but it has on the back right there an aux-in port, which means if I want to plug like a real CD player into this or an actual MP3 player, I can do it. So I'm pretty like really happy with this. And I dig the design too. It kind of like gives off some Teenage Engineering vibes if you're familiar with Teenage Engineering design group. But if I got my audio Chromecast and plug that in, I should try this. I plug this in and then plug this into the wall and see how well it casts. Now I gotta put this back. There we go. It looks like it's precariously placed. It is not. There's a good 2 inches. Okay. So yeah, we got that. And I recommend it as a speaker because I'm no audiophile, but it's funny. We started listening to some music. That is the Swedish Engineering. But what they did, because they used to have a deal with Sonos. IKEA had a deal with Sonos, and they were making speakers with Sonos, and then that contract ended. But they learned a lot, and I think that's one of the products of it, of the learning a lot. But I started playing music, and it was like I had forgotten that music could sound like that in my home. So it was great. It's a lovely purchase and not overly expensive. We were looking at other Bluetooth speakers of that size that had an aux in, and some of them were running like $300, $400. I'm like, no. So we never bought any. We went to IKEA, got that. And I had a gift card. I got a gift card as a gift, and it was one of those ones where you can like have it be for anywhere. So I'm like, let me set it up for IKEA. And there we go. And that paid for that. We basically only had to pay $30 for the battery, which is nice. Yeah, no, I recommend that speaker. What else can I say? I mean, that's all what's up, me. Folks, I went on a little trip last week, over the weekend. Did Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Squibbles is, not only did I spend it on meatballs, I did buy the meatballs, and I did eat the meatballs. Oh, I gotta tell you, we didn't even get into this. So, took the meatballs, defrosted them, obviously, like heated them up, and put them in a pasta sauce I was making, like one of those like ones where you put in the stewed tomatoes and the strained tomatoes and all this stuff, and you just let it simmer. Just let it simmer on the pot and thicken up. Then I put the meatballs in. Hot damn! Obviously, there's like garlic and onion and stuff like that, but man, that was a good sauce. And we still had meatballs left over, so we did the meatballs and mashed potato, and like the IKEA brand gravy stuff. We did that right when we got back from our trip, and I think I forgot. Yeah, the thing about the meatballs, the mashed potatoes is, they're in. So you put them in the pot and you heat them up and you stir them, but they come in like corks. They're like these little. Here, I'm gonna shrink that. It's a little big. let's shrink that down. I just remember I took some pictures. So they come in like things that look like forks. So you just dump this in and you start stirring. It doesn't look delicious, but the potatoes are pretty good. They're pretty good potatoes. Yeah. So we didn't. We did buy some meatballs and some other little things here and there, but like that gift card, we're like, that is, yeah, we're gonna use that for the speaker. But yeah, what is mashed potato Cheetos, mashed potatoes? That doesn't work. That won't even work with the applause. Mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes? No, none of it seems to work. Mashed potato Cheetos. Yeah. So, yeah. So we did this thing. We went on a trip. We went to Calgary. That's right. We went to Calgary, Alberta. It was Katie's grandma's 90th birthday. And we were not going to miss that for the world. 90, she's turning 90. Of course we're going to show up. And we decided to show up as a surprise because that's what you want to do is you want to shock and surprise a 90-year-old person. That right? That's what you want, right? You're just like, hey, grandma. Don't do that to your 90-year-old grandma. We were very thinking, but nobody knew we were coming. So all of Katie's family was like, what the? Ah! And it was great. It was wonderful. But yeah, we did, before that, we got to hang out in Calgary for a few days. No scary people rushed me trying to hand out Stampede tickets. We encountered, almost no scary people in Calgary. Almost no scary people in almost. But, I gotta tell you about this one place we went. I didn't take any pictures inside because I was too busy looking, and I also just didn't want to be snapping pictures. There's an antique mall called Ella Grace Marketplace, and oh my gosh, we found the most amazing stuff. I could have walked out of there with a lot of things, but I limited my spending to $10. And for $10 at Ella Grace Marketplace, like there was all sorts of like beautiful mid-century modern furniture, amazing like vintage glassware, stoneware, Tupperware, like the old cool 70s orange and yellow Tupperware. They had that, and I was like, oh my God, beautiful Corningware. You know, remember the old Corningware pots? They're white and they have like the flowers on them. All that stuff, all that rad stuff was there. And then there was a lot of pop culture things there. And I found it was 3 for $10. And folks, I got 3 packs and I want to open these up live, not now because I didn't set up for it, but like maybe do maybe this would be a vertical, do it as a short or something. Folks, I got trading cards from the television show Dallas. I got Dallas trading cards, and the bubble gum is still inside, and that's really, really gross. I don't know if you can hear it moving around in there, but yeah. So I got 3 packs of these, and so each one has 7 cards. So each one is going to have 6 usable cards and 1 card covered in soot, bubble gum, ash, and soot. So that was my excitement. Katie got these amazing little ceramic. So there were these little ceramic or porcelain animals that used to come with, I think, Tetley tea back in the day. And her grandma used to collect them and stuff like that. And so she did too when she was a little kid. She found some of those and took those home. So that was really cool. I am not going to eat the gum. I am not that is not even up for debate. There's no amount of money. There is an amount of money. And you can send it to coffee.com/EricFell. I won't tell you what it is. You'll just have to keep adding money until you've reached the goal. So if you're like 500, put it in, see what happens. No. 600, put it in, see what happens. No. I just keep doing that. No, I'm not going to do it. I've got too much self-respect. Do I? Sure, I got some self-respect. I got some self-respect. But yeah, Ella Grace Marketplace. If you're in Calgary, check it out. And oh boy, we had some fun times in Calgary. I'll get to what I ate in the Mouth is Nature's Eyes section. No, I will. Yeah, I'll never compete with Beast. Oh, yeah. The less about him, the better. So we noticed when we're walking around downtown that you walk with the great says high voltage, keep out. And I'm going to take a look here. Does anybody and we're like, man, that font is familiar. And it suddenly dawned on me how perfect this is. I want people to tell me if they recognize this font that says high voltage, keep out. There is a particular thing that uses this exact font. And I swear, whoever did this did it on purpose. Let's see if anybody. LA Beast is a different guy that eats weird stuff on YouTube, not the other one. I thought you had transposed a couple of. I don't know how you would have done it with your fingers. But you know who I'm. Yeah. Is it LA Beast or is it Louisiana Beast or is it La Beast? But yeah, so this font, anyone recognize this font? I gotta cut this latency down so that people can chat easier and quicker on here. All right. Well, if you haven't said it, here it is, folks. This is the exact same font used for AC/DC. Look at the AC/DC. This is the AC/DC font. And I love that in Calgary, the high voltage keep out font is AC/DC. Squibbles is, you're correct. It's AC/DC. Oh, gosh. We also walked by a place, and from the angle that we were at, first of all, we were walking down the street one of the nights, and there was a place, and it was called Old Beer. And then we kept walking and said cold beer. But then a similar thing happened when we found this place. We weren't 100% sure what it was called. Just walked by my, oh God, it's a bar called what? What's this bar called? And then it turns out it was called Lure, which I think is just as problematic. It's love, right? It's just as problematic as what like you think this would be. And you're like, Lure. I am not going into a place called Lure. The word you use after lure is never good. I'd go to Lurf. I'd absolutely go to Lurf. I'd go to, but I would, yeah. Just not going to recommend that place. Didn't go in, but you know something, that's fine. Okay. So yeah, Calgary was a lot of fun. We had a, little hotel in the middle of town, and we were walkable. We went to, I didn't even take pictures of these. We found a music store called Sloth Records, and it sold a lot of used music and stuff. Why did I forget this? Very silly. I'm going to show you some of the stuff I picked up. All right. Some of the used CDs we got. And this is Eric. We can guess precisely how old you are. Okay, so Best of Blur. All right. Got Best of Blur. Picked up Violent Femmes, self-titled. Picked up REM Reveal. what I liked about this place is all the used CDs were like $5. It was massive. Katie got Very Best of Dusty Springfield. What else did I pick up? Katie got Franz Ferdinand self-titled. And yeah, so we're getting some, woohoo, yep. We did get a couple more. Oh, Katie found this, Monty Python's Contractual Obligation album, which is, it's weird. It's mostly songs. And Katie picked up the Prodigy, Fat of the Land. Katie also picked up Beastie Boys, Hello Nasty, a classic. Aha! Thievery Corporation, Richest Man in Babylon. Like I said, we made out like bandits. I've never seen a used CD store that had so many CDs that we actually wanted that were cheap. $5 for a used CD. You go to, there's some places in downtown Vancouver, they're selling like used CDs like this for like $17, $18, $19. We went into this one record store in Gastown and we were just disgusted with the prices. Like, they're heading out to they're driving out to Chilliwack. They're buying all the used CDs from the thrift stores in Chilliwack. And they're coming back into Vancouver and they've bought these CDs for like $6, maybe $3 each. And then they're selling them for like $30. It was disgusting. I don't even remember the name of the place, so I can't scare you off them. I found a live Chris Cornell CD called Songbook, which is very cool. And down here. Oh, yes, of course. The In the Airplane Over the Sea, Neutral Milk Hotel. Remember, I'm doing like a really good job of getting back all the stuff that I lost in terms of the CDs. Like, these are amazing finds. And then I'm going to talk to you about a couple of albums that I got too for $5 each. I cannot believe that I found even one of these, let alone two of them. I think I brought this up in the 1990s. What was the album? What was the EMI? In the 1990s, EMI released a series of CDs called Ultra Lounge. And they weren't in print for the longest time, I don't think. They're definitely out of print now, mostly because of licensing stuff. And like there was like a bunch of volumes of it. And I loved them. They were great compilations of old, like funky lounge numbers, jazz numbers. I found two. Like Katie and I were in there. I've never seen, used or new, a single Ultra Lounge CD in Vancouver. Like, just have not seen it. And we're flipping through, and Mambo Fever. This is volume 2. This is Ultra Lounge volume 2, Mambo Fever. Now this has, I can't even read it. Let me, he's so old, he can't read the physical media. No, it's also very, very tiny. Ultra Lounge 2, Mambo Fever. The track listing for Mambo Fever, we're going to read it off of a Discogs. We've got Don Swan and his orchestra, Hooray for Hollywood Cha-Cha. Jackie Davis, Manana, that one's probably very problematic. There we go, the Peter Gunn Mambo. We've got, these are all Mambo songs. Or Mambo. There's the Oink Oink Mambo. Do yourself a favor. Look up the Oink Oink Mambo. And that gives you like the perfect idea of what Ultra Lounge is all about. We've got some Ima Sumac. We've got, it's really good. It's a great one. So I'm so happy. I'm like, oh my God, Katie, they've got this. They've got an Ultra Lounge. And Katie's like, what? And then Katie, and this is the unorganized section of stuff that just came in. And Katie is flipping through and she goes, Eric, there's another one. What the heck is going on? So we scoured the whole store. There were only these two. So this one is Wild, Cool, and Swingin'. This one, is going to be filled with stuff that's probably more familiar because this one is oh, I forgot to read off the back, right? Forgot to read off the back of this. It says for the Mambo one, the hot wind of Mambo blows wild over these 18 sizzling Latin dance favorites from our archives. Shake your maracas and beat your bongos. Don't forget your Arthur Murray cha-cha chart. Olay. File under lounge. This one, back of this one, the club is cooking and the band is hot. 18 of the swinginest vintage vocals by the kings and queens of cool. You have arrived, man. Crazy. This one, we've got, all right, let's look at the cover there. We've got Dean Martin, Ain't That a Kick in the Head? Sam Batera and the Witnesses, Dig That Crazy Chick. We got More by Bobby Darin. Peggy Lee doing Fever. Jump, Jive, and Wail by Louis Prima. You may know, that one's been covered and then put in a Gap ad in the 90s, I think. Sammy Davis Jr., Please Don't Talk About Me When I'm Gone. Too late. Sorry about that. We're talking about you now, and you were awesome. Wayne Newton, Dankeschön. We got Keely Smith, What Is the Thing Called Love? More Bobby Darin, more Louis Prima. We've got Lou Rawls, Nobody But Me. And remember, folks, it's better to have Lou Rawls and not need Lou Rawls than to need Lou Rawls and not have Lou Rawls. Look, it's a Letterman gag. You want to check that. It was very funny. Some Nat King Cole, more Dean Martin. Yeah. So this is like, these are great albums. And there were many, many volumes. And I loved them. And I had tons of them. And they were lost in the, oops, we put the wrong box in the wrong truck. William Tell's 1812 Mambo. Yeah. So like these are good CDs. Like really, really happy that we found them. Yeah. So that's another recommendation. If you go to Calgary, Sloth Records. Next to Sloth Records, or a couple doors down, was the biggest. I say the biggest, probably the biggest, at least the one we could find. Stationery store. So we spent like 2.5 hours at Sloth, just going through everything. That's why we came up with so much stuff, and it's also why I only spent $10 at the antique mall, because these were $5 each. So I spent like, 45 bucks. $45 came out with like 8 or 9 discs. So that's good. But we went to Reed's Stationers, and Katie got a new ink, a nice red ink from Diamine called Wax Seal. Let's see. I thought I had downloaded a picture of it. I guess I was wrong. Let's see. Could have sworn. Let me sort by date. I thought I did that. Let me do that again. Let's do Diamine Wax Seal. Look at my images. Get a nice picture. It's red, obviously. Some of the pictures showed as a dusty red. There we go. There we go. So I'm saving this image. Save image as. Yeah, it's in. All right. Here we go. I'm going to put this up here. There it is. Okay. So this is Diamine Wax Seal. Look at that. That is a pretty ink. It's a nice red ink, and when it dries, you could see the sheen that it has because of the thick dyes in there. So that was exciting, because that's what I find exciting is fountain pen ink. So we got some ink. We got some CDs. We got Dallas cards. And we ate really, really, really well. And we'll get to the eating first. But what I want to tell you about is the cursed items of the week. You're leaving that one on red. Yeah. So we get to the hotel. It was a nice hotel. It was, it was like a little cozy, small, discounty place. And I was hooking up my laptop to the TV so we could watch Criterion Channel at night, which we did. And I pick up the remote control. I'm moving around. I'm like, the remote control feels weird. Why is that bringing us to the cursed item of the week? Well, I'll tell you. We had a different idea for cursed item of the week, and it was the digital de-aging of Sam Neill. And in some Super Bowl commercial, the future is now, people. Yeah, there were these pictures of digitally de-aged Sam Neill and Laura Dern, and every single reply to them was Jeff Goldblum's character in Jurassic Park doing the whole, just because they could do something, they didn't stop to think about whether they should. Let's look at this a little bit longer. Let's make it bigger. I've met Sam Neill. That is not Sam Neill. That is a weird waxwork. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It looks like somebody melted Sam Neill is what happened. And then cooled him down real quick and then put him up there. Like a glove. Incidentally, we had a bit of a rough landing with on the flight home from Calgary, and there was a big bounce. And I just turned to Katie as we bounced, and I said, "Like a glove." And I hope that cut some of the tension. Also realized that, man, if that had gone sideways, those are my last words. That is not what I want to take to the afterlife. Anyway. Sam Neill. Yeah, nearly. They should have called him Sam Nearly Neil. Nearly Neil is a famous Neil Diamond impersonator from Vancouver who used to do a lot of stuff here. He was called Nearly Neil. But anyway, let's get back to this hotel story. I got the remote control. I'm like, oh, this remote control feels kind of soft on the bottom. That's weird. It's something fuzzy. I bet it's the Velcro, right? Sometimes they'll put Velcro on the bottom of a remote control, and then you put a strip of Velcro maybe on the side of the TV or on the counter, and then you can Velcro stuff there. And it wasn't that. It was not that. I turned the remote control over, and I hope you're not eating, folks. Somebody's discarded fake eyelashes were stuck to the bottom of the remote control. That's what I saw. And it was I wonder what that is. Oh, God. Oh, God, I need to boil my hand. Not enough Purell in the world. Oh, my God. That is so gross. So, front desk, they brought up, they were like, oh my God. And you can see why the if that was faced down, or if that, if that was normal face up, the people who come and clean the hotel room, they would not notice that, right? So the hotel room was totally clean. It was a very, very clean hotel, except for, somebody else's eyebrow mites. If I hadn't said what those were, you'd have guessed a dead moth and centipede. Yeah, they were in a fight to the death, and they were just both exhausted. They passed out. Yeah, so we got it replaced 3 minutes later. There was a knock at the door. Oh my God, we're so sorry. And we gave them that remote control, and we took a new one. And they're like, we are going to sanitize this thing. So, it all worked out. But that was, I can still feel it. The gross little tendrils on my hand. I was like, that's too soft for Velcro. Oh, sweet Jesus. Oh, God. Edward Woodward at the end of The Wicker Man. Oh, dear God, no. Yeah, it was that. And I didn't care for it. So that was the cursed item of the week. That's the cursed picture of the week. Let's move on to something better. So when I travel to places, one of the things I like to do, at least I didn't climb into bed and feel them on your back. Yeah, like they weren't in the bed. They weren't like on a pillow, in a glass. They were, on a thing that can be, sanitized with rubbing alcohol and fire. So much fire. So we watched a couple of movies. What did we do? We watched Rio Bravo, I think. No, Red River. We watched Red River. Totally different from Rio Bravo. One is a John Wayne movie. The other's a John Wayne movie. I don't know how it happened, but because of the Howard Hawks stuff going on the Criterion Channel, I've seen 2 John Wayne movies already this year. I don't even like John Wayne, but there it is. Who's giving me butterfly kisses? Oh, it's this living nightmare. Yeah. I really want to cut down this latency somehow, cut down this delay, because I like chatting with you, with like the chatting going back and forth. I like that. And I feel like because of this delay, I've like moved on to something else and I got to sort of step back for a bit. So I got to figure that out. Got to work on that. I'm still figuring out all the YouTube side of stuff. I thought I had started getting the Twitchery stuff down pat, but the Twitchery stuff, man, I don't know. That was like with the cheers and the jewels and the little bits and bobs. I never understood it. So, I'd prefer, I think if I do get Twitch back up, I think I'm going to figure out how to multi-stream to both Twitch and YouTube and then have a multi-stream chat, like how I do with Laser Chat. I do it through that EVMux thing. But yeah, that delay can be a pain in the ass. And yeah, for the next stream, I'm going to do my best to figure that out. Yeah, to see if we can knock that down and see what we can do about the thing with Twitch is I think with Twitch, you folks, you awesome folks, if there's a way that I can say no delay for you, and then, yeah, that's the other thing too. Here's the thing that we're not getting in this versus the Twitch chat. Remember we would every week we'd get like a couple of spam chats. Nothing here. Nothing. That's all right. I don't mind that so much. If I can even bring it down to an 8-second delay, I feel like we've got like a 30-second delay. Yeah, I really feel like we got a 30-second delay here. And I don't like it. Let's see what I can do here. Let's click on Lava Being. I might accidentally. My options for Lava Being are. No, I can't. Yeah, there's the only role is moderator. I was hoping there'd be another hey, one of these and then we could put the people we know in there. The cool kids from the Discord, which you should be joining if you haven't already. Yeah, supposedly there's some latency options when starting a stream. I don't know much about it. I did notice it was high, normal, or low. So I'll do whichever one is the fastest. I wish it would say latency fast or slow. But clap your hands and you type clap. Yeah, I think we've done this before. Let's try it. Okay. Here we go. And timer starts now. 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 6 1,000, 7 1,000, 8 1,000, 9 1,000, 10 1,000, 11 1,000, 12 1,000, 13 1,000, 14 1,000, 15 1,000, 16 1,000. This is exciting. 17 1,000, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 22 seconds. 22 seconds, probably 20. Yeah, 20-second delay. Boo earns. Also, it says right now that I have 1 viewer, which is impossible because 3 people just responded. Who knows? So we'll figure that hangout and see if we can't link it in with all the fun Discord stuff that I'm still trying to figure out. Oh, one thing I was going to do this week. A full ad break almost. That's interesting. One thing that I was going to do is I was just about to this week. I was like about to email Chris Gersbeck from Dumb Industries, who has sort of he said, hey, anything you want to plug, you're welcome to come on our show and plug it. And I thought, hey, this is the week I get back, plugging all this stuff that we've got coming up, plugging the JFL show, plugging this, plugging that, plugging this, plugging that. I'm glad I didn't do it. This would not, and then something happened this week. I'm like, oh, this is not the week for me to go, hey, I'm riffing something. Somebody else is taking care of that huge announcement. If you don't know, we were talking about before, Shout Factory bought MST3K from Joel Hodgson. He is no longer involved. Maybe he as a brand ambassador or something. And I was working on a pitch deck. I don't know if I told you this pitch deck idea. I was working on a pitch. I was getting it all up and running. It was called Mystery Science Canada 3000. And it was going to be like, there's another experiment happening and it's in geostatic, orbit over Canada. And it'll show Canadian films or films with Shatner in them, films with Canadian actors in them, which still opens things up, stuff there, right? I'm like all ready to send it. And then Mystery Science Theater 3000 came back with Mike Nelson, Kevin Murphy, and Bill Corbett, and the Riff Tracks crew are writing it. So it's already they're already crewed up. They've got everything ready to go, and they're hitting the ground running. And they got, last time I checked, almost $2 million on their Kickstarter, which started 3 days ago. So that's exciting. They're doing 4 episodes. And I think the Kickstarter money is going to be paying for things like licensing the movies. I think with the money that they're getting, it's going to be they're going to be able to get some doozies. So very excited for them. Very, very, very happy for that. But it also means that Mystery Science Theater's back. That door's closed. That door is closed for me to message them stuff. Yeah. So I won't be sending that. I feel like right now is not the right time to send that. Maybe in a bit. Go, hey, listen. Because the way that Joel was doing it, there were other people, right? There was Emily and Jonah. There were other people up in space. But I think they're just going to go, you know what? We're just going to go with how we did it. And it'll be kind of like the sci-fi years. So happy to see them back. So excited to see them back. One of the things that did happen, I noticed on the MST3K Reddit, was there was a lot of people going, yay, they're back. The Netflix season sucked. Whoever wrote those jokes sucked. I'm like, oh, come on. All of a sudden, I'm freaking Vance and Coy. There's a deep cut, people. Yeah, it's exciting. I'm really, really excited and happy to do it. So you know what? Focus on other pitches. I got a sci-fi comedy that I'm working on. I've got a second comedy series that I'm working on a pilot for right now. And I've got a pitch almost ready to go for Gentlemen Hecklers on television. And it's like, okay, that's where I should concentrate. Yeah, on the plus side, it may raise some awareness that could help drive some popularity in my own riffing. It could, yeah. I mean, anything is, I think this is once the Kickstarter when the Kickstarter finishes in 6 weeks, that's probably when I'm going to be launching my Patreon anyway, because like I said, I want to have a couple hours worth of content on there before I get everything going. The Kickstarter comment section is kind of the same. Yeah. And it is really interesting to see that. I'm not going to lie. I didn't watch all the new stuff. I didn't see the last season at all because I didn't have the Gizmoplex. It is what it is. And like I said, I mean, my main thing is I'm really excited that it's going to be Mike and Kevin and Bill. And Mary Jo is coming back as Pearl Forrester. So that's going to be really cool. Yeah, something I can point to when pitching to say that riffing can do well if you reach the right audience. It is absolutely Squibbles as you like. That is one of the things you do, or that I'm doing in the pitch deck is here's how successful these things can be if you reach the right audience. Like I actually have that as like a page, and I will be screenshotting. If I could screenshot the Kickstarters for like MST and riff tracks and stuff like that, and go look, there's millions of dollars. For hecklers, right? Like just go, listen, Jonah hecklers, we can do this. And it's, it's a fun show and I miss it. Riffing solo is fun, but it feels like more work in some ways. Because now if we want like a joke every, say 10, 15 seconds, say 4 riffs a minute, right? 4 riffs a minute, that would mean, I would write 2, Patrick would write 1, Casey would write 1. Then we got 4 riffs a minute. We'll keep going, right? But now I'm just like, I got to write all 4. So it's like twice as much work that way. But I'm not editing other people's jokes, and I don't have to decide what a funnier joke is without hearing that person say it. And that's nice. But, as one of the pitches for the riffing thing is I would be the script editor. So I would be like the head writer, getting everybody's jokes, choosing the jokes. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. Who knows? Probably won't go anywhere because I'm not in Toronto. Be like, we don't know who you are. You don't have a large following. Okay. TikTok crowd want 3 to 4 on-screen overlaying the content at once. Oh, I deleted the hell out of my TikTok. Or at least I uninstalled it. I'm sure that the account still exists, but I'm not uploading anything to that. Yeah, one of the things was like how my solo riffing is just going to be me recording stuff. But I might do some live. Remember I showed you this thing doing that? No, I prefer to do it myself. I'm going to mute that. And doing, the Eric's Remain Indoors commentaries. As you could see, I was testing it on season 1, episode 6 of G.I. Joe, Countdown for Zartan. Riffing your own riffs. Who's this guy? Yeah. And then, so these were my ideas. So there's some good stuff here. So we could do something like that for some live stuff. So that's what I'm working on right now, and putting more stuff up. Of course, prepping for Critical Hit Show, which I don't know if you know this, folks, but Critical Hit Show's coming up February 17th. Did you know that? Of course you know that, because special presentation February 17th. Tell your friends, tell the whole bunch. Like I said, we have no publicity machine this time. We have nothing. Everybody's, when you're putting in, here's the 10 things you want to see this week in Vancouver. It's all like Letterman, James Acaster and stuff, right? Like we are not showing up on those lists. I remember even like last year going, here's the problems I had with JFL. Now, the problems that I'm having with JFL this year are not problems with JFL. Just for Last Vancouver, the people are wonderful. And I absolutely understand that they want to sell the, $80 tickets for Letterman. Of course they do. I want to go see Letterman. Yeah. So, yeah. So, like I said, we're going like full old school. I'm going to be going into like gaming stores and stuff this week. And I go, have you heard of this show? Because it's been going for 14 years. We're just for Last Vancouver. Your audience may like it. Have a poster. So I may want to do that. That's the thing. I really want to like chat a bit with Chris Gersbeck at Dumb Industries. I think what he's done over the past half decade has been amazing in building up this whole community, building up this whole world. Essentially, like and my interactions with Chris have always been like, he's just a good person, a really friendly, really nice person, constantly busy, incredibly busy, right? Because this is what, a 3-person, because there's like Chris and Matt and Emmy and like maybe a couple other people, and they're doing this thing and they're on like 24/7. I mean, I know a lot of it is also, and they're producing the Mads, which currently, I don't know if they've done anything recently, but interesting to try to get in touch with them. Yeah. So they seem like amazing people. I am a fan of their stuff, and I love watching the different types of things they're doing and going, yeah, I've been trying to do stuff like that. I just need to find the right people, the right audience for it. Speaking of audience, folks, Critical Hit, February 17th. Yeah. I'll put the information in and the fun pictures and things that you can use to spread the news if you feel like it. Yeah. But that's the thing too. Lobbying. They do 4 events a week, which is huge, right? Like so much prep, and I'm sure they're like in the swing of things. They got the momentum going. But yeah, it is so great. I mean, I should just leave this up. But yeah, I miss it. I'm working on. There's a Buck Rogers riff waiting to be released into the world. I just have to know when to walk away from it, because what I'm doing now is I'm recording the riffs, hating my delivery, re-recording specific riffs, going, I hate that joke, writing new jokes, and it's just like I've done the whole thing, and now I'm just like bit by bit, just like rewriting. I almost feel like I'm having too many riffs in what I'm doing. I will see what I can do about maybe posting a little clip up in the Discord or something for folks to take a look at, just like a 2-minute clip. Yeah. So that's, I'm doing that and doing prep for the Critical Hit. And once the 17th happens, I got, let me look at my, my gig schedule. Oh shit. That's my corporate gig schedule at the moment. Nothing on the horizon. But we're getting dates for our Little Mountain Gallery shows very soon. There will be a March show at Little Mountain Gallery. That'll be cool. There's a good sized group of UK content creators that do things similar, but Dumb Industries is one of the larger groups. Yeah, they really built something up great. And I also feel like the people who are into that sort of thing seem to be really nice people too. They seem to be, yeah. Maybe it's just because like I've never seen a Dumb Industries Reddit. I've only seen the Discord. But there's a lot of really nice people on the MST Discord, but some of them are just like mad, just angry. I guess because it's, Reddit. Yeah, there were a couple of pre-orders that came in. I want to kind of show off as well. Yeah. Katie's really excited. Katie got this guy. His name is Blast Off. He is a transformer, and he transforms into a shuttle. Now, so he's pretty cool. I can actually grab him for a sec. He's in vehicle mode. There you. And surprisingly, when you get your transformer and then you transform them, and then it's just like their face, you turn the toy over and it's just their face on the bottom. Yeah, we're all bots. That people feel like they don't treat other people as real people on the internet, and it sucks. But this is the shuttle. It's a very sort of clean transformation. It is conversion. It is a great little toy. Yeah, I was really excited to. Yeah, Katie was really happy with this. Lava, because you got a tiny version of that figure from 30 years ago. Yeah, he's a Combaticon. Yeah, he's a combiner, right? He turns into Bruticus. Think that back there. Yeah, I thought that was really cool. And there was another one that came in, which I'm really excited about. that I've been looking forward to. Yeah, these little Canadarm, a little white. Yeah, we can make that out of straws. Now this guy I've not opened yet, but I got Studio Series Thundercracker. Look, you can barely see him through the glare, but he's a pretty great figure. Look at that. 27 steps. So I'm happy that there's a new mold for Thundercracker, which means we're going to get a new Starscream. We're going to get a new Skywarp. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. I've yet to open that or the Soundwave up, and we'll do that soon. Yeah, just wanted to. We got a couple of fun little trinkets, which I thought was cool. I think Thundercracker can. Yes. All of a sudden, you look at the background. There's like 30 Thundercrackers, and I think. Their colors were slightly different. Here we go. Because there were. I'm gonna download this picture here. Because I'm fairly certain that these guys. Oh, it didn't download. Thanks, J5s. Just want easy access to these generic guys. There we go. Let me save that. So, take a look here. So there are these guys, right? And they're not quite Thundercracker. Like a teal guy and then like a couple of dusty purple guys. But I think, yeah, one of them can clone themselves too, I think. They say on the back what his powers are. No, he just says Thundercracker prepares for battle alongside Decepticon leader Megatron. Thundercracker se prépare pour le combat aux côtés de Megatron, chef des Decepticons. And then I don't speak the other languages, so I won't read them. Yeah, so yeah, I got a little Thundercracker. Yeah, so that'll be fun, and Katie loves to do the puzzle side of the transformation stuff. So that's pretty cool. And there's like 4,000 different Seekers, right? Like there's like a yellow one and a green one. I don't know what their names are. Lemonade and Limeade. That's what I'm guessing. Probably incorrect. Probably like Sunstorm and Toxic Boy. Toxic Boy. Yeah, that's probably what it is Toxic Boy. Let's see, Seekers, G1, create clones. Swear, yeah, one of them does. I thought one of them was able to make clones. I don't know. Jet fuel and jet exhaust. Yeah, they're just named Jet, different parts of Jet. Who are you? I'm Jet Rivets. Who are you? I'm landing gear. Hinge. Just that. Who are you? I'm internal wiring. Real exciting. Speaking of real exciting, I don't know if you know this, but we've been learning more things about plant life.
Could a plant?
I was hijacked. Did you see that? Did you see what happened? There was a glitch and other Eric jumped in for no reason. I didn't do that. Oh boy. Great. Yeah. Great. Yeah, maybe they were holograms and not clones, but I think they would have been hard light because they were picking stuff up. I've seen them moving energon cubes around in the background. But I don't know. What they've done is they've already made them canon in one of the millions and millions and millions of comic books that they've got. Yeah. So I wish I had more news on shows coming up. I'm concentrating right now on Critical Hit Show. Here's an idea that I had for an upcoming Critical Hit Show. I was going to do it for this one, but I want to make the February 17th, the Just for Laughs Vancouver Critical Hit Show. I want to make it the most new viewer friendly, right? This is sort of a new episode 1. This is hey, we just switched networks. Let's, I don't want to say soft reboot, but let's, keep the show's lore. We don't have to go too deep into the lore. Like I'll just say, don't even bother bringing up the Bedorf and the, right, and the Urine Elf and all that. Because if you haven't seen the show, whenever they start off in the tavern, one of them will visit the restroom in the tavern, and there's a bidet attendant with a voice like a bad Werner Herzog impression. And then there's like an elf that is a urinal attendant, and he's got a really high voice, and it's really it hurts my throat to do. And they're married, and they have a nice time. Yeah, so I gotta say, listen, let's just do the adventure and bring that lore back in as it goes on. But yes, Deuceners, thank you. It's the Insecticons that can do that. Yes. I'd totally forgotten about that. But with this Critical Hit Show idea is order 100 pairs of super, super cheap cardboard 3D glasses. Okay? Advertise that the show is going to be in 3D and that the first 100 guests get a free pair of 3D glasses. And on the side of 3D glasses, it'll probably be too expensive to print. Just print up a bunch of super cheap stickers, slap it on the side, Critical Hit Show, put my website on there. So it's like 100 little mementos. People love bringing home mementos from that show. So you get all the 3D things. And we just, it's in 3D. I just do a regular show, but have the whole thing advertised. The whole thing go, this is in 3D, people. Our show's in 3D. And then just do a show because we're humans in 3D. So I just want to price that out. I don't want to spend like $100 on that or anything. I don't have $100 to spend on that show. The show without that costs $100 or so. It costs over $100 to do the show now, which is weird in terms of like dollar store stuff. It used to be $40. 12 years ago, 14 years ago, it was like I'd spend $40 on the show. Now it's over 100. Extra long wands and swords. We can wave toward the audience. Like, go full Dr. Tongue. Would you like some pancakes? And do the thing. Anyone on the show have a twin that could go as a red eye character, where the other cast members is a blue eye character? I don't have nobody, to my knowledge, in the cast has an identical twin. What we did do one time is have a character in a mask played by Barbara. And so she was in the mask the whole time. So she wasn't playing her normal character of Ingrid in the first half of the show. So the first half of the show, this person comes out in a mask, or it's Barbara in a mask in a totally different costume. And then in the second half of the show, Barbara comes back in the mask and the costume. And then Ingrid, Barbara's character, comes in. We're like, what? Everybody's like, what? How did this happen? So Barbara has a friend who is like a very similar body type. So everybody just assumed that was Barbara walking around. So we used like a stand-in. In fact, it was Sarah Bino who's doing Teen Angst at Just for Laughs Vancouver on February 20th. And so she had the mask on. So Sarah Bino walking around. Everybody's like, oh yeah, that's Barbara in there. That's Barbara in there. And then Barbara shows up, and it was, what the hell? That was one of my favorite sort of what the hell moments. There you go. Amazon has a 100-pack of 3D glasses for $18. Yeah, I could do that. I don't want them to be, the thing is, my worry is that they're like child-sized. And so nobody will be able to wear them. But I love doing the little tricks like that. Trick of the audience. We We did that one time. I think we did. If you saw it, we did an back in the online days. Joanna was part of my bubble during lockdown, so Joanna came over when we were live streaming the Critical Hit show and was live streaming in the same place, in the same apartment as I was. And there's a bit where you see her window and you see my window, and she gets up from her window and shows up in my window, which I thought was hilarious. I like a joke like that. Something that breaks the just makes you like, whoa, what the hell was that? And it's a how the hell did they make that happen moment. I got a couple of weeks to figure out what the hell I'm going to do for Just for Laughs Vancouver. But I think it's just going to be a classic, the classically structured one. Not going to do anything absolutely wild. We're just going to be the best improvisers we can be. We have the best comedians in the city. Just be that, and it'll work. I was going through the December show, trying to pull some footage for some ads and stuff. I got a little reel. God, I gotta start putting more of that stuff out. Yeah. So that's I don't know. That's me. How are you? What's going on? What's going on with you? Yeah, there are things that I want to talk about that I can't talk about, that hopefully I'll be able to talk about in a week or so, maybe in a less amount of time. I'm working on a little something with someone special, and that something I'm working on with someone special will be revealed all in good time. And by someone special, I mean like, one of my favorite people in the world. No, I don't want to give it away. I won't get any more specific than that. But let's take a look at the. I'm curious if any of our new Refresh My Memory episodes have gone up. I haven't gotten a notice, and the website is slow. I'm just checking to see how much hate is on the. There we go. No, The Fugitive is still the last one. We've got two more coming up. We've got Jack's Back, starring James Spader, and Holes. We did Holes. We did Holes, which was a neat movie. And you posted quite the photo for the 3D glasses Amazon listing in the Discord. Well, let's take a look. Oh, because this is a great. Let me. We're going to put this picture up. So this is in the ad for the. There it is. Let's look at that, because this is what I want. Look at this bored. This bored person. There's incredibly just. Oh, good. Like, what the hell am I watching? And clearly they're really wearing the glasses. And this wasn't photoshopped on. And then, yeah, they're clearly actually wearing those. So I want to make sure that they're the right size. They're for grown-ups. Yeah, it's so real. Look how, wow. That's really real. People believe, this person's bored wearing 3D glasses, but my book presupposes, what if they're not? I don't know. Laughter goes here. There we go. The laughter went there. Lava Bean. Did you tell me about the movie The Sword and the Claw? A Turksploitation movie from the 70s that is gloriously bad. It is on YouTube. Would recommend watching The Sword and the Claw. The Sword, I've not heard of this film. It is, the poster that comes up is amazing. And I actually think I recognize that guy. I may have seen a movie this guy was in. Here it is. Here is the poster. There it is, the sword and the claw. So he's, got a sword and a claw, I guess. So, I wouldn't fight this guy. I don't think anybody should. It looks intense. Yeah. Well, this is definitely what I'm checking out. The sword and the claw. I think it's also known as Lion Man. And the poster for Lion Man. Now that's something else. Let me bring up the poster for Lion Man. It didn't bloody work. Oh well, it's very classic sword and sorcery. The trailer says there's a new 4K transfer. Well, for the collection, that's 4Ks are expensive. There's a Criterion sale coming up sometime this month. Better not be on the 17th because I'll be busy. Every February they do a 50% off sale at the US Criterion website. And I hope that the Canadian distributor Unobstructed View follows suit. They did at the last 50% off sale, which was nice. There's a few more on our list. There's a few more that have just been announced on 4K. I'm excited about April's release of Point Blank, starring Lee Marvin. I cannot stress enough how much I love that damn movie. It is a weird work of insane genius. And when you realize that it's the same source material as the movie Payback, you're just like, how did those two exist in the same how did Payback, how is that anything at all like Point Blank? Does it start with a P and end with a K? But of the two, I would recommend Point Blank starring Lee Marvin. It's a late 60s movie. I don't know. But it's pretty great. Yeah. I like a Lee Marvin movie. I like it when he shows up in movies. He shows up in like odd places. Like he's Liberty Valance, the man who shot Liberty Valance. He's one of the main, probably the main heavy in The Big Heat, which is one of the greatest noirs of all time. Super recommend that one. No, not Point Break. Not Point Break. That's a different beast altogether. That's a much saltier beast, saltwater style, on account of the surfing in the ocean. But Point Blank, yeah, not Gross Point. Oh, here's the thing, because there's Point Break, Gross Point Blank, and Point Blank. Point Break, I get why people love it. Not going to take that away from anybody. It wasn't quite for me. Gross Point Blank, on the other hand, amazing film. I love that movie. It really captures an era. Brilliant soundtrack. I think I got it on CD somewhere. Gross Point Blank and Point Blank have no connection. Point Blank, like I said, is a John Boorman film starring Lee Marvin and Angie Dickinson. And Gross Point Blank is John Cusack and the great Minnie Driver. And like I said, amazing, amazing soundtrack. Cusack just wants his money back. There it is. Gross Point Blank, Point Blank. It's because in Point Blank, he just wants the money he's owed. And I'm not going to say anything else about that, because there's something about the movie Point Blank that's a really interesting read of the film that may or may not be accurate, but you can interpret it as such. And I don't want to say what it is. That is a second viewing thing, unless you watch and go, hold on. I won't say anything about that, which is one of the reasons why I like it so much. Is there's some really odd things that happen in that film. Plus, there's like a fight at a nightclub that is insane, especially for that era. It was like really pushing that whole Hays Code thing. Really pushing. Speaking of pushing it and fights, my goodness. Obviously, Um, obviously we watched Groundhog Day on Groundhog Day, right? Did anybody else watch Groundhog Day on February 2nd? Because you probably should have. It is. So, some call it a perfect film. And I'm not going to go, oh, it's not perfect because of this and this and this. But I did notice something. At 6, like the alarm goes off at 6 in the morning on Groundhog Day, right? February 2nd. He looks out the window, right? And he said every morning, right? Every morning he wakes up. Is it that light out at 6 a.m. in February? I'm just curious. Is it? That's why I suddenly went, hold on. But, that's it. Because it would suck if it was still dark out. That movie would not work at all. It would be far more grim if he wakes up at 6 on his night. Yeah, Squibbles is Groundhog Day. It just happened. Yeah, Squibbles is Groundhog Day. It just happened. Yeah, Squibbles is Groundhog Day. It just happened. Thank you. The Groundhog Day sketch. Yeah, so I'm just curious because I'm not usually up. I'm up at 5. And then I go back to bed until 7. So I don't know if it is that light out at 6 a.m. That's the only. And then there's it's probably. I mean, it's in New England, right? It's Puxatawny. That's not New England. Puxatawny's in Pennsylvania. Right? Puxatawny, Pennsylvania. Yeah. That's where Puxatawny Phil pops out a gobbler's knob. Oh, I'm going to get censored for that, aren't I? Groundhog Day in Puxatawny has a sunrise of 7:23. There we go. So that's it. We've destroyed the movie. We can never watch it again. Therefore, it's a bad movie. Should we do a YouTube video, folks? Should we do a YouTube video on here's why Groundhog Day is a failure of a movie? Because it's not that light out at 6 a.m. Yeah. Movie guessing game Deucenage did Groundhog Day 3 times, 3 days in a row this week. That's very funny. I like that. Yeah, wow. Lava Being. Autocorrect went wild. You crushed it on day 3. Oh, excellent. Actually, I seem to remember these questions. I love you didn't crush it on day 2. You didn't go, hold on, this is the same. You had to see it twice. You had to be wrong twice. Yep. Movie ruined. Thanks, Eric. Yeah. And there's another bit where he's waiting in bed and he goes to bed at 4 p.m. which means he sleeps for 14 hours, which I also thought was funny. Now, my question is, I think no matter what time he goes to bed, he wakes up at 6 a.m. having had the same amount of sleep he got when he went to sleep the night of February 1st. That's what I think. I also think it's just a show. I really should just relax. That. Yeah, day 2 for your thing is wait, what? How do I know this? Okay, yeah, I see why by the 3rd you're got it. Okay, I see what they're doing. Yeah, I mean, Squibbles is Phil, not Puxatawny Phil, but Bill Murray's character. Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to do a count of how many. I was thinking that they should have had on the 4K disc is a supercut of a certain thing, but Lava Being has a question is what happens if he stays up till midnight? It turns 12 o'clock. The rule is 6 a.m. It's 6 a.m. Groundhog Day whenever everything resets. So he'll drive off a cliff. 6 a.m. He actually stays up past midnight. And that is addressed. The staying past midnight is actually addressed in a scene. So that was cool. And of course, Andy McDowell's great. But here's what I think would be a neat thing to do. And I'm not going to do it. Is cut the movie in chronological order, not from the point of view of Bill Murray's character, but the point of view in the world. So he wakes up, he looks out, he looks out, he looks out, he looks out. He passes the guy, he keeps passing the guy. You think we're gonna get 6 weeks of winter? And I want to see that. I want to see his progression as a character going through all this stuff, which Katie pointed out is like all the stages of grief. Yeah, the original concept, he's trapped there for thousands of years. I think it has to be at least a year, right? It has to be so much. So he's got like a year of growth as a person to do. But yeah, I know like the number 10,000 days has been bandied about or something, but I don't know. But I think it'll be interesting to watch the movie like that, or watch specific scenes. Like here's the scene where he comes downstairs and talks to the lady in the lobby, here he is in the diner scenes. Yeah. So getting that done, I want to see that, but I don't want to make it. And I probably won't watch all of it. It'll just be interesting, I think. Yeah. So we watched that movie. And there's a couple other movies we watched, which I thought were kind of neat in their own way. I'm going to take a sip of water. In the meantime, I'm going to take a second sip of water. In the meantime, let's talk about, let's have a little disco dance.
Disco, disco, disco dance machine. Disco, disco, disco dance machine.
There we go. I don't want you to see me going glugging lime water with lime juice in it. That's my choice for today. Keeping it cool. And I'm going out for 2 coffee intensive meetings today. And I may go by, there's a leather shop in East Van, leather repair shop in East Van. And I got some leather that needs repaired. I need some boots rehealed. Let me grab my boots that need rehealed. Let you know. All right, here we go. Here's my boots. Some classic Dayton's. These are probably the most comfortable boots I've ever worn. But yeah, take a look at those heels. Now you're going to go, oh wait, that pattern means you're walking weird. And apparently it doesn't. Apparently this is just the natural way, heels wear out. Here we go. Here's, so it is, you can see the heels starting, it's starting to wear down. These treads here, they're generally fine. Like the sole, generally fine. I got to clean that off. There's a bit of soil. But if you take a look here, the heel is almost done. It's almost at this part. And I think if you replace this before it gets to here, it's less expensive, because if you get into here, you need this chunk here replaced rather than just the heel. Yeah. And it's going to be a lot cheaper than buying a new pair of shoes. So these are some of the Dayton ones, the ill-gotten Dayton ones that I was paid with instead of money, instead of legal tender that they were illegally doing. To the cobbler. So I got several pairs of Dayton boots, and they weren't cheap shoes. Like, pretty expensive shoes. Like if you go to the Dayton site and you look up their what are those? These are their service boots. So they're now called Wolford for obvious reasons. But if you take a look, let me go to currently available. They are currently selling I can find them. I swear they were. Last time I checked, they were on here. They were called service boots. Here we go. Service boots, made to order. I think these were not made to order, but they are the exact same boot. You'll look at the price and you'll be like, oh, this is why this is why you want them repaired and you want to keep wearing them. They were not this much when during the pandemic. So this is that boot. And so these boots were like $750 boots. And I'm like, yeah, no. I got them, instead of money. I'm like, you can't do that. But so I'm getting them repaired. If I wanted to buy a new pair of these, that's $1,500. No. I buy my Vans on sale for $40. That's me buying shoes. That's absolutely me buying shoes. So yeah, these are pricey bastards. So yeah, I'm gonna go if they're like, hey, it's $80 to resold them. It's like, good, so I can wear these for another 5 years. These are shoes for the amount of money that these would have cost if I had purchased them. I need to wear these for the rest of my life. I'll also say, damn comfy. My Docs, pretty comfy, which by the way, I got caught on a piece of jagged metal and there's a slice in the leather. Not all the way through, but part of the way through on one of my Docs. So I got to get that looked at. So these were like $750 to $900. I forget how much they cost back then. I'm sure I could go to archive.org and go back to 2020, go to Dayton Boots. That's why I'm getting them repaired. I don't want to throw them out. These have to last forever because wow. Speaking of lasting forever, William Friedkin is a filmmaker who's made some amazing movies and some less than amazing movies. Scribble says, you're saying there's a company in England that makes shoes using traditional methods like that. They have an intermittent thing on their YouTube channel where they try to make shoes out of weird materials. Oh, that's really interesting. So back in the day, Dayton Boots, I toured their factory downstairs where they would like physically make these boots, which I thought was pretty cool. Umbrella fabric or diapers or plaid. Of the three, I probably wouldn't do the diapers first. Don't say it's my number 2 choice because then no. I gotta get that. And I appreciate a pun. And the place, I'm gonna put this in the chat. The place is called that I'm getting this looked at is All Together. Do you get it? All like AWL, all together. I'm like, okay, you got a pun. I like your style. And I looked them up. They got a really good reputation. And they're, a 15-minute drive away, which also helps a lot. I got my posters printed at Jukebox Printing for the upcoming Critical Hit Show thing. And I'm like, I'm just going to drive down to East Van to pick them up because that's where Jukebox is. And they moved to Richmond since I used them last. So I'm having them shipped. But I don't know how many of you have the Criterion channel. If you do, they have a section called Stunts. That's their monthly, one of their monthly sort of themes. They do themes, curated themes, which is really cool. Much better than an algorithm. Because you can't, this is how you will discover new movies. So they've got one called Yearning, which is all like In the Mood for Love, Sleepless in Seattle. Some great movies. Some of the greatest movies of all time. They got a section. They got a theme this month called Stunts. They got Yearning and they got Stunts. So 2 nights in a row, Katie and I watched movies in the Stunts section. And there's a movie that came out in 2003. Didn't do great in the theaters. Critics really didn't care about it. They said it was generic. They said it was old hat. All this stuff. Katie and I watched it, and we disagree. The movie is called The Hunted, And look, it's got like a super generic 2003 poster, right? It's Benicio del Toro. It's Tommy Lee Jones. And Tommy Lee Jones plays a character not too dissimilar from his fugitive character who has to hunt a fugitive. But William Friedkin directed this movie. And in many William Friedkin movies, there is a scene or a set piece that is unforgettable. That is holy crap. I'll give you several examples. When he made The Exorcist, there's a few scenes in there where you're like, oh my God, what the hell is that? Right? The second one I will give you an example of is the film Sorcerer. There's this whole bit with the truck on a bridge that is some of the most tense filmmaking I've ever seen in my life. The car chase through New York, yes, in The French Connection. That is like the bar that was set for car chases. It was Bullet, then The French Connection came out. They're like, oh crap, now it's this. Then in the movie To Live and Die in LA, which I'm not going to lie, I think that one's my favorite Friedkin movie. Starring William Peterson. And the car chase in that one it's a car chase in LA going the opposite way. If you get a chance to watch Live and Die in LA in the theater with that in your face, holy crap, do so. And keep in mind that it was shot on film, so they had to have a huge rig, right? It's amazing. This movie, The Hunted, knife fights. There's a couple of knife fights in this movie that are so intense and they feel real. Like they feel really like real and ugly and like desperate. It's not like I would say it's incredibly well choreographed because it doesn't look choreographed. And if it wasn't choreographed, these people would have gotten so hurt. But there are some really good, some really, really great knife fights in it, of all things. And Tommy Lee Jones plays the Tommy Lee Jones character. Benicio del Toro is an interesting choice for this character. I can see why he took the part. Interesting part. Great director. Yeah, I would say, also, it's like 94 minutes. The end credits start at the 90-minute mark. So if you don't watch the end credits, you're in and out in an hour and a half. So I would say, yeah, if you like a stunt, it's also like really gorgeously shot. And you realize when you're watching this movie, it's like, okay, so this movie was considered mediocre when it came out. If this movie came out now, looking the way that it does and having some of these parts to it, there's a couple of really good chase scenes. I mean, it is a chase movie. It hits the ground running. Like one of the big complaints when the movie came out was there's no character development. It's just all a chase. It's like, yeah, it's 90 minutes. It's 90 minutes of this person did this thing, or did they? This person has to catch them. Vroom. And they just go, and it's an hour and a half. Because sometimes that's all you need. You don't need like to spend 28 minutes on a damn backstory. You don't need that. That's what the acting's for. That's why you get someone like Benicio del Toro. That's why you get someone like Tommy Lee Jones. You know their backstory. You know, like a movie now would spend 40 minutes on their backstory together. 40 minutes. Here, there's like a couple of flashbacks here and there, and just the way that they're like staring off at a space, you're like, oh, yeah, stuff went down. But the way that it looks, the way that it was shot was amazing. It would be nominated for an Oscar now, for cinematography. And, you know, back then it was like, yeah, this is just a movie. To show you how things have changed in that world. Then last night we watched, I'll say, a far goofier film, which I've been looking forward to. And it was just as juvenile and silly and bad in all the right ways, but incredibly competently made by incredibly talented people. It's from director Hal Needham, who you may know as the director of Smokey and the Bandit, Smokey and the Bandit 2, Cannonball Run, I think Cannonball Run 2, and of course, Mega Force. This movie is called Hooper. Burt Reynolds is Hooper. And this is a movie that coasts. It is a hangout movie that coasts on two things. Thing one, incredible stunts. It's a movie about stunt performers, about stunt people. When they name drop stunt performers in the movie, that's their real names. And yeah, it's Hooper. And Burt Reynolds, as you can see, is Hooper. The other thing that it runs on is Burt Reynolds' charm, where you just kind of want to hang out with this guy. He's just get this. It is the most guys being dudes movie that has been ever made. Like, it's, hey, let's have a fist fight with these people and have barroom brawl breaks out, and then they all get thrown out of the bar, and then Burt Reynolds is like, hey, let's go to my house and party to the people he was fighting with. It was that. Like, it was like, let's have a punch up rather than I have personal stakes in this. What's kind of interesting is Hal Needham, the director, and Burt Reynolds have a long history. Burt Reynolds actually started out as a stunt performer. It's nice that Squibbles says that is a deep cut. Nice that he went to run the grocery store on Sesame Street after that. Oh yeah, because he blew his knees out doing all those stunts, and then he ran the store at Sesame Street for a while, and then he taught all the children about mortality. Remember that? If you remember Mr. Hooper, you remember that episode. There's a Sesame Street episode where they deal with a cast member's passing by dealing with his passing. And it is one of the most, like, I don't know, man, it's like a really, really interesting and important thing. And I don't think children's television really touched on that before or since in quite that way. Because, like, basically, this episode of Sesame Street, Mr. Hooper has passed away in real life. And Big Bird's like, hey, where's Mr. Hooper? And they're like, Big Bird, I need to talk to you. Like, he died. When's he coming back? And like, I don't know why I'm doing my Richard Dreyfuss impersonation. That's right, I'm Big Bird. No, it's a terrible Richard Dreyfuss. But they dealt with that on Sesame Street. I don't know if they would do that anymore on Sesame Street. I think Sesame Street has almost like become, from the clips that I've seen, you know, when like a relative has Sesame Street on, like a little nephew or something has Sesame Street on. I feel like it's gotten more juvenile. Not juvenile. I would say Hooper's a very juvenile movie. Like, there's a bit where Burt Reynolds gets his horse to poop in someone's car. Like, that's what juvenile. It's like, I feel like it's like they've aged it down a touch. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I've never sat down and watched a full episode of Sesame Street since I was Sesame Street watching age. But with, you got into 120 dust ups with Oscar. Okay. So they did a COVID episode. I can see that. Yeah. I think it's there was an international edition where, there's a Muppet that has, HIV. And then Ian Boothby did a stand-up bit about that, because that means Muppets have blood. Muppets. What? Anyway, let's get back to the movie Hooper, directed by Hal Needham. So Hal Needham, Burt Reynolds have a really interesting relationship in real life. The director and the star. Hal Needham was, for a bunch of stuff, Burt Reynolds' stunt performer. In fact, the relationship between Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the reason I went to even bothered to see that movie is because it was apparently inspired by the relationship that Hal Needham and Burt Reynolds had. And, oh gosh, the Feebles. Oh, we're not even going to go into Meet the Feebles. Squibbles says, oh my goodness. I remember when I was trying to tell someone about Meet the Feebles one time, they thought I meant Meet the Deedles. I'll save that for something else. I will say. But yeah, so they've had this long-standing friendship, and this movie is like made to celebrate stunt people. It is one of the first movies to show outtakes over the end credits. If not the first, it's like up there. It was like, because this is the one they did right after Smokey and the Bandit. They did this, they did Smokey and the Bandit, they did Smokey and the Bandit, they did this, and then I think they did part 2 of Smokey and the Bandit. I forget what year that one is. But another thing that really interested me in this movie was the movie takes place during a movie shoot, right? Burt Reynolds plays the stunt performer, and he's a stunt performer for Adam West, who is playing himself, but with a mustache. So in this movie, Burt Reynolds is essentially playing Hal Needham, right? Because he's the stunt performer for a star. And Adam West is playing Burt Reynolds. There's just a moment. Adam West just... I don't want to spoil it. Anyway, there's something a little bit more about this movie. A bunch of what the relationship between the director and not Hal Needham, but in the movie there's a director played by Alan King. So Alan King's character and Burt Reynolds' character have this relationship, and it is based on Peter Bogdanovich's behavior when he was directing a movie called Nickelodeon. So Bogdanovich, he's made some really good movies. I'm not taking that away from him. But what happened was he began to believe his own press. And from what I understand, by the time he did like Paper Moon, he did What's Up, Doc, he did Targets. He might have done a couple, Last Picture Show. So he's done 4 movies that are considered brilliant films. And he finally gets a big budget. And it's a movie called Nickelodeon. There's a reason you've never heard of Nickelodeon. And if you have heard of Nickelodeon, you've probably heard the stories. So he was a monster on set. He believed his own press. And Burt Reynolds was an actor on it, and Hal Needham was a stunt performer on it. And he was a big problem on set. He, in fact, rewrote the script. The script was originally like a drama, and then he tried to turn it into like this silly comedy, and none of it worked. And instead of having a plot, it's like, well, these are real things that silent movie directors told me actually happened. Yeah, but is it interesting? It was apparently like super self-indulgent, bad stuff. But if I look up Nickelodeon movie, Bogdanovich, okay, it's a 1976 film. It's called Nickelodeon. And I'm just going to read to you some of the things, okay? So Irwin Winkler was no relation to Henry, I don't think, maybe, was the producer. He wanted to make a movie about silent films. So he took the idea to W.D. Richter. W.D. Richter is a screenwriter who also wound up directing Buckaroo Banzai. So, we know he's the real deal. He either wrote it or directed. I forget. But Richter agreed to write the project on spec, and it was called Starlight Parade, and it was like a drama about working on silent films. And who's this person? So there was an exec, I think, named David something. Okay, so Bogdanovich, this is from Irwin Winkler. Bogdanovich had made this exec guy, David, come to his office and wait until the receptionist said, "Mr. Bogdanovich will see you now." As soon as we can, or maybe David is W.D. Richter. I'm trying to figure out who this David person is. See if I can just, there it is. David Begelman from Columbia. Okay. So Begelman goes in to see Peter Bogdanovich, and Winkler makes Bogdanovich wait in the office until the receptionist said, "Mr. Bogdanovich will see you now." This is Winkler's words. "As soon as we came inside, we were very haughtily told that he thought the script was a piece of garbage. I'd been around long enough to know that I should take this as a bad sign. I remember coming out of the meeting and saying, 'David, why should we make the movie with someone who hates our script?' And all David said was, 'Hey, he's a genius.' What he filmed had nothing to do with the original script. I know it meant a lot to Peter to have all the authentic stories about the silent period in the film, but Richter's script, authentic or not, was terrific. It was just great drama. By the time Peter was done with it, it wasn't dramatic anymore. Peter hadn't really experienced any failure yet. He was easily the most arrogant person I'd ever met in the business before or since. When he shot the picture, he actually directed some of the scenes on horseback. When I asked him why he was on horseback, he said, because that's the way John Ford did it. So that's what Bogdanovich became. And I think after that, his movies weren't funded as much, and he didn't get a lot of stuff he wanted to get made. Bagel Man is the fakest name you've ever heard. What about Guy Incognito? Yeah, so Hal Needham had such a hard time dealing with Bogdanovich. And they based this movie on, and you're watching it, and you're like, yeah, I can see that. Because I've seen interviews with Bogdanovich and stuff. He's like, great director, but there was some of that. But I think that's I don't know. I just think that's really funny. They had such a bad experience that they made their own movie. Like with this like little bit. So every time Alan King shows up, he's Peter Bogdanovich. Yeah, I thought that was another reason why I wanted to see it. And it was very silly. A horse is a movable ladder / platform. Just screws up the set and can't keep quiet. Yeah, it's true. Can't keep quiet. And, it's a ladder that poops. You don't want a poop ladder. So yeah, I'd say if you got the Criterion Channel, give it a go. Give Hooper, if you think Smokey and the Bandit is fun entertainment, Hooper will be fun entertainment. If you think Smokey and the Bandit is kind of garbage, you will hate Hooper. Think about Smokey and the Bandit too. Not Smokey and the Bandit. Think about Smokey and the Bandit. I'm not even going to get into the Smokey and the Bandit 3 Smokey is the Bandit cut. That lost cut of a film. I want to research that more. But Smokey and the Bandit 2, Smokey and the Bandit 1 was such a hit. I think people forget how big of a hit Smokey and the Bandit was. The only movie that did better in theaters in 1977 than Smokey and the Bandit was Star Wars. So that's pretty huge. And there's a lot of people who, like a bunch of film nerds who I don't think they actually know shit about shit, who will say that, well, because Star Wars is such a hit, Sorcerer wasn't distributed properly. Sorcerer would have been the highest grossing film of 1977. Watch Sorcerer. Watch Smokey and the Bandit. Is Sorcerer a better film? Yes, absolutely. Is Sorcerer a movie that people would go to over and over and over in the theaters in huge, massive groups? No. They'd go see Smokey and the Bandit 3 times, 4 times in the theater during its run. 100%. Sorcerer, you watch it, like, okay, I need to take a few months off. It's intense. It is intense. It's an intense, dark film. And there's no way it would have been the highest grossing movie of 1977. No way on earth. That's my hot take, film nerds. Yeah, that was like, for years, that was a myth that like was, this is what would have happened. Like the myth of Star Wars was saved in the edit. You know who had a reputation of being an amazing editor? By the way, every film is saved in the edit. George Lucas was brought into other people's movies to help edit them. He was a very, very good editor. The narrative is totally different from what people are saying now. I think it actually started with a stand-up bit from Patton Oswalt. If you are saying a stand-up bit as fact, you might not be saying facts. Yeah. I've done the deep dives. I've done the research. That narrative is not really how it happened. Yeah. But I don't want to talk about Star Wars right now. Yeah, so Hooper. Check out Hooper. Check out The Hunted. Check out Groundhog Day. Check out Groundhog Day. Check out Groundhog Day. I also saw House of the Long Shadows, starring Vincent Price, Christopher Lee, John Carradine, Peter Cushing, and Desi Arnaz Jr. To quote the television show that the late Mr. Hooper was on, one of these things is not like the other. Here's the idea for House of the Long Shadows. Here, I'm actually going to put this back up. House of the Long Shadows. Okay. Desi Arnaz Jr. plays an arrogant author who's challenged by his publisher. Because he goes to the author, the publisher's like, oh, you know, people want big emotions like Wuthering Heights. And Desi Arnaz Jr. says, yeah, I can write something as good as Wuthering Heights. Yeah, I can do that. I can do that in a day. I can do big emotions in a day. Give me 24 hours and a place to write. And the guy's like, okay, yeah, I know a friend of mine. A friend of mine has some land and there's an abandoned mansion on it. Go right there. And so he goes and tries to write, and people keep showing up. But the people who show up are Christopher Lee, Vincent Price, John Carradine, and Peter Cushing. So I think, you know, it's going to be a little bit on the old spooky side. It can't be spooky side. It had its moments. I would say, I'm not going to say the ending was a letdown. I'm going to say the ending, this was based on a play. And this is the ending that the play had. Well, I understand why they did it. I just don't think it worked. Felt like a bunch of bullcrap. Pardon my language. So that's what my week was like. I can't wait until next week. Because next week, I will have more adventures to tell you. Next week is the 12th. Next week, it'll be 5 days before the big critical hit show. I do want to get some sort of laser chatty thing going. Maybe we'll do next Tuesday or Wednesday or something, like a Wednesday night, the 11th. That sounds fun. I don't know. I'll see if I can get a laser chat together, some of the cast. I'm meeting with Barbara for coffee in a few minutes. And then I'm meeting with Joanna later on. So I'll bring it up to them. I hope you've been having a good time. I hope you've been having a nice time just listening to me chat away. And I love chatting with you. I'll get that latency problem fixed because I want to have conversations with you because you are all so awesome. Thank you so much for all your support, everybody. If you're in a position to help the channel, and a very big thank you to those who are already doing so. You can always support it and me at coffee.com/Eric Fell. It helps me eat and pay rent and make stuff like this. Both of those things I want to continue to do. Like I said, the Patreon is on its way. When I have enough content up, I will launch it. There will be things to see, hear, and stuff. There may be... Nope, I'm not going to say, because if I say it, it might not happen. I don't want to mess with that. I'm not superstitious, but I still don't want to mess with fate. Laser chat with David Letterman. That would be insane. I'll tell you one thing I am going to do during the 12th to the 20th, or 12th to the whenever it's done. I'm going to try to go to as many shows, local and international, as I can, as will let me in. I want to meet. I've been out of the loop. People know who I am. I just don't know who they are. I've gone to a few comedy events where there's comedians there and they know who I am, which is nice. Like, oh my, you're Eric Fell. But it's weird because they know me from Gentleman Hecklers, which I haven't touched in a long time. So that's nice. I just want to get to know everybody and get, people for my Little Mountain shows, get new guests in and stuff and just get to know the comedy world again. That's my goal is to get out there and do stuff. And I think there's a couple of like industry things for producers. I'm technically a producer, so I can get into these things. And of course, the after parties. That's where the real networking happens, is the after parties. Anyway, folks, I should let you get on with the rest of your day. You got stuff to do. What are you doing? Listen to me yammering away on a Thursday morning. And by the way, it's very, very appreciated. I hope you all have yourselves a great week. I mean, I'm going to be, looking at stuff in the Discord, putting stuff in the Discord, probably some stuff like, hey, if you feel like plugging the show, that's going to go out there. All right, folks, you've been amazing. Thank you so much again. And I'll see you in the future. Bye. Have a good one.